Hello, I'm Molly, and welcome to Care Experts Live, brought to you by CareCredit. I see that we already have some people coming in the live stream. Hello, Monica and Chelsea. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here. I see Jonathan, Lauren, Tuck in Austin, Shelly in Manhattan. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to be here because today we're talking all things pets. We are going to be answering your veterinary and pet health questions. And a little bit later, we are going to be revealing the CareCredit Let's Get Digital Cardholder Sweepstakes special secret word, which is worth 10 sweepstakes entries. So definitely stay tuned for that. But today we're in Los Angeles and we're with Dr. Jeff Werber. Dr. Werber has been a practicing veterinarian for over 35 years. He is the founder of the VCA Century Veterinary Group and the former president of the Association of Veterinary Communicators. Hi, Dr. Werber. Thank you so much for
Hi there.
joining.
How are you? How you doing?
I'm doing great. We're so happy to have you. Who's that cutie you have with
This
you?
is Harry, one of my five dogs and also five cats. But so with 10 pets, we chose Harry because he's a rescue and he is so adorable. This is when I first met him, this was Harry all over the place.
Oh my gosh, he's so stinking cute. Oh, well, we're so glad you're here. And I think just to start it off, can you just tell us and the people here in the live chat just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am one of those guys that wanted to be a vet ever since he was a pup. My parents say ever since I was five. And I went to Berkeley undergrad, went to UC Davis for veterinary school, had a blast, and then started working with my former boss when I was a technician. In fact, he hired me the day I got into vet school, not the day I got out of vet school, which is really cool. So I had no pressure going through school. Then started Century Veterinary Group. After 30 years, sold it to VCA, and then left there. And I joined another practice in West LA where I still work every day. I thought I'd start 3 days a week. It didn't happen. 5 days a week, which I love. For me, practicing veterinary medicine is my golf. And along the way, I got into media and just started doing a lot of media stuff. Actually, I think I'm one of the only vets in the country that has an Emmy award, which I got from KCBS, the local Emmy for being on their news team and doing pet spots every week. So it's cool, kind of cool.
Dr. Werber, that's amazing. I mean, I was going to ask what you do when you're not being a veterinarian and helping your patients, but sounds like you keep really
I do two things. In fact, last night was one of them. Tuesday nights I play basketball with literally kids half my age, younger than my kids, and I snowboard. And I took it up at 50, and I think I'm a better snowboarder than I was a skier. So yeah, those are my fun things. And when I travel when I can.
That's amazing. I love it. And how did you know you wanted to be a veterinarian? I mean, you have all these other interests. What was the draw?
It's a really good question. I have no idea, and I'm not alone. I know if I talk to probably 70 or 80% of my classmates in veterinary school, also many of them ever since they were little kids, they want to be veterinarians. I always had this magic relationship with pets, and for me, when I meet kids, even my own kids, they're going through life, and even in college, some of them don't know what they wanted to do, and it's like, oh my God, you poor thing! I knew what I wanted to do in kindergarten. So yeah, it's really great. And here I am, my 39th year of practice, and I have to tell you, it's my golf. I love it. I go every day with joy and with a smile on my face, and top it all off, I actually get paid for it. Pretty cool.
Sounds like a dream job, dream life. So
It is.
I love
It
it.
is.
Well, thank you so much for that. Now that we've gotten to know you just a little bit, let's get into some of our first questions. So we have had people write in from all over the country questions that they want to know, that they want to ask a veterinarian. So we've actually had a lot of questions about diet and exercise for dogs. So I think we're going to start there.
Sure.
Actually, I think I see in the chat we have somebody just asked Marlia, how many walks a week should I take my dog on? Which is perfect because that leads us into our first question. Okay, so we had Brittany M in Killeen, Texas, wants to know what is a good amount of exercise for a dog to stay healthy?
It really depends on the different dogs, where you're living, what they're eating, how much they're eating. Obviously, a dog that might be eating a little too much might need more exercise. I would say minimum two, preferably three walks a day. 15, 20 minutes. That's the normal daily. And then maybe once or twice a week, if you can get them out to a park, get the tennis ball, get the frisbee, a dog park where they get to run and play with other dogs, that is also great for them to do as well. But again, you want to make sure that they are staying lean, that they're on a good, healthy diet. And certain breeds, especially the pushed-in face breeds called the brachycephalics, like Dwight, my French bulldog, be very, very careful when you're exercising because they overheat very easily and it can be very dangerous.
That is very good advice. And I know sometimes it can feel like, oh, I got to go outside again. But once you get out there, that 10, 15 minutes with your dog flies by. So I love that. 10, 15 minutes, 3 times a day. Great. Um,
One of the things I tell people is that oftentimes obesity is a big problem with dogs, right? And it's the number one nutritional disease. And scary statistic: 75% of obese dogs and cats belong to owners who themselves could lose a few. So I always say, you know what, getting out and exercise is great. In fact, it'll be good for both of you. So that gets the point across.
It's true. They say, we rescue dogs, but really they can rescue us a lot. They make you get
Totally.
out there, go on a walk, which is good for everybody. So
Right.
that's great. And then I'm just going to follow up on that question because we did have Julie C. in Shakopee, Minnesota wrote in, and she wanted to know, should daily exercise habits change for elderly dogs?
Absolutely. As dogs age, here's the thing. As they age, they get slower, they get some muscle mass loss, they get arthritis. And the best thing for them is to maintain muscle mass. So it's really getting them to fight through the pain. So the exercise is still essential, but it might be a little less rigorous, maybe not running more walks. It's the same as we are when we get older. People, the doctors want us to maintain exercise, keep the heart pumping. So it's still exercising, but it might be a modified exercise based on what they were used to when they were younger. But the key is get them out there and spend time with them.
That makes sense. And I guess we can always ask our friendly neighborhood veterinarian too if we have any questions about our elderly dog.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to switch topics just a little bit because I want to cover everybody that wrote in. We had so many great questions. So Kristen D in Auburn, Washington, she wants to know, what do you recommend looking for when purchasing a cat food?
So with cats, cats are interesting and funny because they don't often drink a lot of water. And hydration is very important given the fact that one of the number one diseases affecting cats is kidney disease. So I recommend what we call mixed feeding. Now, if you have a cat that's a great water drinker and doesn't like canned food, which is, it happens, but they're drinking a lot of water, then feed them a good quality, AAFCO certified, that's the American Association of American Feed Control Officials, cat food. If you have any questions, talk to your veterinarian. But if you're feeding a well-balanced food, they usually have taurine in it. They should, because cats cannot make their own, which prevents cardiomyopathy. Then it's a matter of getting them the crunch. The key is they have to like the food, of course. It's funny, we make the decisions, but the cats have to eat it. So let them make the decision. It's got to be tasty. They have to enjoy it. They have to have a nice shiny coat and making sure it has the taurine. But I do like the idea of feeding. I have 5 cats. I do mixed. I do both dry and canned because I want to make sure they get enough water.
That makes complete sense, and it's great to hear it from a veterinary source. So thank you for those suggestions. And then just to follow up on that too, Chanel B in Ocalawa, Florida had asked what you feel about raw diets.
So raw diets it's an interesting, great question, by the way. We see more certain diseases, Campylobacter, Salmonella in raw foods. Now, there are some raw foods out there that have gone through some processes that actually help prevent these bad bacteria. One is freeze dried, all right, and the other one is HPP, high pressure pasteurization. They also sometimes call it high pressure processing. So if you have a raw diet and animals like it, and they have either one or two or both of those processes going into the manufacturing, then I am a big fan. But again, the animal has to like it. What I get nervous about with raw foods is that if they're not prepared properly, then we see dogs and cats that can come down with Campylobacter, Salmonella, Listeria, etc., E. coli. So I worry about those.
Okay, so sounds like do your research, maybe consult your veterinarian,
Correct.
check those ingredients. Okay,
Definitely.
great. So finally, on this topic, we have Jeff M from Bryson City, North Carolina, and he asks, what are some of the best vegetables to give my dog?
So it's interesting. Vegetables are usually pretty good for dogs. The problem is they're not always fully digestible. Dogs don't have cellulase. Cellulase is what helps break down a lot of those starchy vegetables. So, for example, the skin of an apple, the celery, or some lettuce. So some of that stuff is not bad for them, but it might be coming out the other end exactly how it went in. So I usually like feeding the meat of the vegetable or fruit, but they can eat broccoli. They actually like it. Beans, peas, carrots. They love carrots. They're very good for their eyes. A lot of vitamin A. So I think it's a good thing to feed some vegetables. Just understand that some of parts of those vegetables, like the skin of a cucumber, might not be digested completely.
That's great. Thank you so much. I know I've wondered when I'm sitting there chopping vegetables, like what can I give my dog? What shouldn't I give my dog? So that's super helpful. Thank you so much. So I think that really helped everyone with their questions on pet diet and exercise. Obviously, we could talk about this forever, but we're going to move on to a new topic. And I just want to also take a minute to thank everybody that's here in the live stream. I see so many people from all over. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Lily. Thank you. Who else is there? Let's see. Laura, thank you for being here. And Megan, thank you guys so much. We're so excited that you're joining us for this Care Experts Live. So our next topic that we are going to get to, we're going to talk about some pet behavior issues. Oh, and don't forget, you guys, pretty soon we will be revealing that special secret word. It's our CareCredit cardholder sweepstakes. Let's get digital special secret word. So stay tuned for that. We're almost there. Okay, so let's get to pet behavior issues. I do see in the chat here, I think we have a question from Daniel O. And it's about dog anxiety, which is great because that is part of what we're covering next. Pet behavior issues. So, Dr. Werber, let's talk about it. We have Juan C. in Charlotte, North Carolina, who asked, how do I keep my dog from getting anxiety from being left alone at home?
So it's interesting. First of all, we call that separation anxiety. We see it a lot in dogs that are maybe coming from a shelter situation where they now finally have a loving home, and they just are so afraid they're going to be left behind again. So the keys here are two things, and it sounds terrible. It sounds mean, but it's really not. When you are home with them, you need to look for ways that they can still play and enjoy their environment without you. That means there are some great toys and games out there that make the dogs work for their treats. So you're not giving the treats, you're not giving the reward, the game is giving the reward. So don't think and try to dissuade them from sitting with them, getting up every commercial, for example, if you're watching TV, purposely get up and go to the kitchen, but the dog has to stay, and give them a treat to stay. So the whole idea here is that they have to enjoy being alone, feel safe and secure. Now, when you come home during these training periods, first leave for 5 minutes, and then you keep extending the time. Don't go crazy. Don't say, oh my God, Mary, I missed you so much. Because then what happens is they're going to start loving that. So the thing is, this is where it sounds mean. You walk in the house, you walk right by them as if they don't exist. They're going to run up to you. They're going to get all excited. They want your attention, and they're not going to get it. It's almost to the point where they're going to say, boy, to heck with him or to heck with her. So, and then after a while, as things settle down, then you can start giving a little treat. You don't, and when you're leaving, try to get them busy doing something else. Give them a toy, give them a bone or a chew toy with some peanut butter in it or something that's going to occupy them, and just carefully slip out of the house. Maybe put your purse, maybe put your car keys and your coat outside first, and then just casually slip out of the house. It's all about keeping them comfortable when you're not around.
I love that, Dr. Werber, because it's totally like, if we don't practice separation first, how do we expect our dog to just be okay with it?
Right.
Makes sense. Okay, great. So that's a really great answer to that question. Thank you. Our next question for pet behavior is, we have Jillian O in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is wondering, what is the best way to occupy a hyper dog on a rainy day?
So again, if you get them used to having fun on their own, it's really hard unless you have a really, I tell this to people that if they live in an apartment building with one of those really long hallways as you're going through all the different apartments, take your ball and play back and forth, play a little catch inside the apartment or the apartment complex. If there's some place where you can get them some exercise, there are some treadmills that you can teach it. If you have an area, live in an area where there's a lot of rain or a lot of cold, you might consider one of those doggy treadmills. They do great. But really, it's a matter of having fun with them when you can. And when you have a break in the rain or it's a very cold day and you have a little break, then take them out. One thing about small breeds and the cold, it's okay to put them in a coat or a sweater. Just don't let it impede their movement. And other people, when you see a little dog wearing a sweater, don't laugh at them because their body surface area in relation to their weight is larger when they're small, and therefore they can actually lose a lot of body heat to the cold. So it's a matter of still figuring out some creative ways to exercise them, and also if it's too cold, not just rainy, understand that they may need a little help, a little covering when they go outside.
That's great advice. I love it. And I just want to take a quick shout out to Colette in Kentucky, Amy in Houston, Mike in Texas, and Ladybug in Jacksonville. Hi, you guys. Hope you're having fun listening to all these great answers from Dr. Werber. So our next question was from Michaela B in Cynthiana, Kentucky, and she wants to know, how do you get a dog used to a newborn baby?
That's a great question, and we see it a lot. And very similar things to when you're bringing a new dog into a household with resident dogs. So what I recommend is the following. First of all, there's often resentment, and we create the resentment. So when you have a dog that is not happy, it's because we blew it. And so what do most people do? They pay more attention to the dog when the baby's not around. Now you're teaching the dog basically, you see, life is better without that baby. It's the opposite. When the baby's out and about, you include the dog in everything with positive reward, with treats. And when the baby's asleep or napping, you kind of ignore the dog. So the dog is going to get its rewards and its fun with the baby around. So there's a positive reinforcement. One thing you do when a new baby's coming home, in the blanket or the pajamas, whatever you're going to bring that new baby home in, offer it to the dog to sniff and then give a treat. And do this for several days before the baby's arrival. Then when you have the baby home wrapped up in that same blanket, that same smell, and trust me, they can smell it, when you present the dog to the baby as if this baby is the dog's baby. It's your friend. And again, oh my God, we're home. And you smell him, sniff the blanket, whatever it is, the pajamas, and then again, give him the same treat that you were giving him. It's also might not be a bad idea to take his favorite treat and withhold it for like a week or two before the baby's arrival, and you save it for when you start letting him sniff the blanket before the baby comes and when the baby comes. So you want to make it a positive experience that they're buds, and the dog gets more attention in the presence of the baby.
I love that positive association, and everybody's a big happy family. That's great. Okay, so along similar lines, but not in human form. So Kayla W. in Hamlin, West Virginia asks, any tips for getting a dog used to a new cat addition to the family?
It would be very similar. I have 5 dogs and 5 cats. It's interesting because my dogs are so used to seeing cats that they don't care. It's usually the cat that takes a little more time to get used to the dog because they may never have seen a dog before. So it really is very similar. You coddle the cat, whatever you're going to use for the cat as far as the food. Let the dog kind of sniff around, and when you bring the cat home, have it in your arms. Be careful because if it's a freaky cat, you're going to feel those claws. And just make it fun for the dog. Make it positive and go slow. Usually when a dog is eating and when a cat is eating, they really don't care about the other things. So maybe have them start eating in the same room, but very far apart from each other, and then slowly bring their dishes together. My dog, 2 of my dogs eat in the kitchen with my cats, and they all get along great. So it can be done. You probably have a more difficult time with the cat getting used to a dog than the dog getting used to a cat.
That's great. That's so much good, helpful info. So thank you. And now Susan B in Idaho Falls has a kind of different question. We're just going off to a different direction. But in Idaho Falls, she is wondering, what does it mean if a dog keeps licking their paws?
Okay, so there are a few things that it could be. When dogs lick their paws, it could be either an allergy, something that they are getting irritated on their walks. It could be, interestingly, food allergy. One of the most common signs of food allergy are face rubbing, ear infections or ear rubbing, and licking their paws. But usually when they do that, they lick with enough virgo that they actually can cause some sores, scabs, what we call erythema, which is redness to the feet. And understand also that food allergy is a bit overrated. It's really not as common as people think. But also another thing, when the dogs lick their paws, but they're causing no problem. You look at the feet, there's no saliva staining, there's no sores, there's no irritation, there's no infection. It could be a form of anxiety, just like a person who sucks their thumb or bites their nails. It just appeases them. And they sit there and they just lick and lick. And you can distract them very easily just when you say, cut it out, and you're going to give them their true toy, their bone. And another thing, sometimes if they use their front feet to hold a bone, some of whatever it is in that bone, the smell rubs off on their feet, and then they continually want to lick the feet even when they're not holding the bone. So if it's persistent, you need to see your vet, try to rule out some of the medical problems. And then if it's that, after that, you would think probably more behavioral.
Thank you, Dr. Werber. Okay, so now we are going to take a short break because we are going to reveal the CareCredit Let's Get Digital cardholder sweepstakes special secret word. The secret word is health. Through October 31st, 2022, you can earn entries for your chance to win $2,000 in the Let's Get Digital CareCredit cardholder sweepstakes. Enter the secret word health in the sweepstakes hub to earn a special 10 entries now. Head over to the sweepstakes hub by simply visiting carecredit.com/letsgetdigital. No purchase necessary. A purchase will not increase your chances of winning. Open to legal residents of the 50 U.S. and U.S. territories, including D.C., 18 and over, who have a CareCredit credit card as of 9/6/2022. Void where prohibited. Promotion starts 9/7/2022 and ends 10/31/2022. Sweepstakes prizes are awarded in the form of a check. For official rules, including odds, free method of entry, and prize description, visit carecredit.com/letsgetdigital. Sponsor is Synchrony Bank, 170 Election Road, Draper, Utah, 84020. Okay, so let's get back to some shout outs here. We have some more people here. I see Heather in Hollywood. Thank you so much for being here. We also have Stacy T, Paula J, Michael B. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're so excited to get some time with Dr. Werber and some veterinary expertise. So we are going to go back to some more questions, Dr. Werber, if you're ready. So let's see, Erica E and Megan L are in the chat asking about bathing, brushing their dogs. So perfect. We'll go to the next topic, pet cleaning. We had Samantha P in Winsboro, South Carolina, who wanted to know, how frequently should you give your dog a bath so that their skin does not dry out?
So again, this all depends on the dog and the dog's skin condition, and if the dog is having skin problems. Typically, for dogs, grooming somewhat regularly, several times a week. They love to be brushed, combed, whatever. You want to make sure they don't get matted. As far as bathing, look, some of my dogs I bathe once a month. Some people they have like these apartment dwelling dogs. They want to keep them really nice and clean all the time. They may want to be bathed once a week, which is okay. More than that, I think it depends on your veterinarian's advice and the skin condition. We have many dogs that have skin problems, skin infections, pyoderma, seborrhea, and they need baths a couple of times a week. So then, of course, you do it a couple of times a week. The keys really are based on the dog, the type of shampoo you're using, the recommendation of your veterinarian, and of course, necessity. If the dog's got out in the mud and you're going to have him in your house and you want to give him a bath first, obviously give him a bath to clean out. So interestingly, this is funny. If you don't have a pet shampoo, all right, something that was prescribed by your veterinarian or something you can buy at a good pet store, you have something in the house probably all the time that actually makes a good pet shampoo. And that is either like a Dawn or Palmolive dishwashing soap. That's right, dishwashing soap works great on dogs. The pH of the soap is more likely to be accepted by the dog's skin. They don't dry out. So you always have something ready in case you need to give your dog an emergency bath.
Yeah, that's right. And they use that to clean up oil spill animals too, right? So it is definitely animal safe and yeah, totally great to use. Awesome. Okay, so Hope S in Ada, Michigan wants to know, how often should you give your cat a bath?
as often as the cat will let you, which is not very often. I would say make sure the first thing, it depends how much you want to preserve the skin on your forearms. If you are worried about that, you got to be very careful. I always recommend, in seriousness, clip their toenails first before you try anything. Most cats do not like to be bathed. Now, if you start as a kitten, then that's okay. One of my cats drinks its water by sticking its entire head under a running faucet. As the water drips down their face, he licks the water off of his face. So that's interesting. That's not normal. But make sure you have a good hold on your cat, scruffing the cat, don't let go. And again, don't use a spray or anything that's going to freak the cat out. And if you can start when they're young, then that's the way to get them used to it. It is not easy, but it can be done. And actually, some cats don't mind. If you have one of those cats, then again, but remember, cats are fastidious. They like to keep themselves clean, so they need baths typically less often. But for long-haired cats, like the Himalayans and the Maine Coons, you got to be very careful because they will mat easily if they're not brushed or combed regularly. That's sometimes more important than bathing.
That's right, because those mats can get
Oh,
ugly
yeah.
and peel on the skin. So you really got to make sure you're on top of your brushing with those long-haired
Right.
cats. Okay, so next question we have Melinda B in Midway, Alabama, who asks, how often should a dog get its teeth cleaned?
So recommendations vary here. The best way to keep for home care to avoid professional dental care is to brush your pet's teeth ideally every day, at least every other day. It is still the best way to keep the teeth clean. You want to get rid of plaque. Plaque is left over after a meal. It turns into tartar, worked on the bacteria in the mouth and saliva. And ultimately, once it reforms tartar or calculus, you need professional cleaning. So I recommend starting around age of 3. 75% of dogs and cats already have some sort of periodontal or dental disease. So that's usually the first dentistry. And then from there, it varies. As they get older, at least, certainly once a year. And small breeds, I notice, actually develop more plaque. And they're also the ones that lose their teeth more frequently. So you might have to go in every 6 months. Again, it is very individualized. Check with your veterinarian. Have your pet's teeth checked regularly, and you determine how often based on that. One thing I will tell you, the most veterinary dental specialists, do recommend professional dental cleaning. The anesthesia-free dentals work okay on getting the plaque off the surface of the tooth that is visible, but they do not do a good job getting underneath the gums and preventing bone disease and bone resorption. So again, check with your vet.
Yeah, I think sometimes people don't realize how much of the dog's health their teeth can affect.
Oh, absolutely. When just as an FYI, in dogs that ultimately succumb to glomerulonephritis, which is a kidney filtration system infection, or endocarditis, an infection of the heart valves, the bacteria cultured from these diseases originated in the mouth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So that's
wow,
serious. Got to clean those teeth.
right. That's why
Okay,
we want teeth brushed and keep them clean,
exactly. Every
bacteria.
day. Awesome. Okay, so this one is from Kristen L. in Holliston, Massachusetts. She's wondering, how often should I be cutting my dog's nails?
Nail trimming, I would say, as often as necessary. Dogs that are foo-foo dogs that are sitting in high-rise apartments and rarely feet touch the ground will need their nails trimmed more often. Dogs that are like my big Labrador, who's running on the streets and having fun, he hardly ever needs his nails done except for the dew claws because they never touch the ground. But I will tell you this, that it is very important. Start trimming nails, handling feet, touching feet when they're young. Let them get used to the process. Always do this, rub, play with the feet, and then give them a treat. Make it a positive experience. When you're trimming nails for the first time, better to trim less than more and do it more often. Why? Because when you are clipping nails, if you hit that quick, which is the nerve and blood supply, that's when you get these animals that say, you're not coming near me, and literally resist and fight and go nuts if you come near them with a toenail clipper. So get an appropriate toenail clipper, trim a little bit at first. You can also get one of those, the automatic, the electric nail trimmers that basically are like an emery board, all right? And it's like a drill. And it's just, as it rotates, it can basically trim the nails and also take away the edges. So it's called a Dremel. And if you want to talk to your veterinarian about a Dremel type of nail trimmer, that works well too. But with those, sometimes the noise freaks them out. So it really varies. I have many patients that come in, and the reason they come in is just for us to trim the nails because they have failed.
Yes, and each dog's different. I know for 3 of my dogs, I use a Dremel, and for 2, I just clip because they don't
Right.
like the Dremel. So you have to figure out your dog's choice.
Correct.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Werber. So before we move on to the next topic, I just want to check in with our live streaming folks. Thank you guys. Roxanne in LA, Miguel in Connecticut. Hello, DJ in Orlando. Mary in South Korea. Wow. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're so happy to have you, and thanks for joining us for Care Experts Live. So if you did miss the special secret word, we will be revealing the word again after our next set of questions. But we're going to wrap it up with Dr. Werber on some general pet health questions. So our first question, we have a good one from Haley S. in Wichita, Kansas. She asks, what are the top 3 things you recommend pet owners do to keep their dog the healthiest?
Well, I think the top 3 things would be nutrition, really good nutrition, exercise, and regular veterinary visits. Because a lot of diseases, especially with cats, that are hidden because dogs don't complain. We see things and it bothers us more than it bothers them, or it does bother them, but they don't have that same reason to complain. So the best way, preventive care, is way better than trying to treat a disease once it's already started. So I always recommend, and veterinarians differ about when the first time they should come in for full physicals. I'm talking just routine physicals with blood and urine and maybe x-rays. For me, it's small breeds of dogs and cats is 8 years of age, large breeds 7 years of age. Some veterinarians like to start at 6. Now, prior to a procedure, like a dental procedure or a surgery, of course, your bloods and urine might be taken and tested before anesthesia. But I'm talking routine care. So those 3 things: good nutrition, also modifying the nutrition as our dogs or cats age, and plenty of exercise, again, of modifying that when they age as well, and preventive veterinary care.
I love it. Yes, preventative is key. That's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Werber. So we had Charles H. in Red Key, Indiana, wants to know, how long should you wait to get something on your pet looked at if it's not hurting them?
So these are great questions, by the way. And so yes, if you see something on your pet that's not bothering, you should still probably have it looked at if it's growing. Now, if it looks like something you've seen before, like a wart or a little fatty tumor, and it feels like it, and you want to keep an eye on it, that's okay. But if it's something new that you've never seen before, it's always best to have it checked by your veterinarian. Your veterinarian may just look at it and say, oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing to worry about. Or might say, you know what, let's do what's called a cytology. Let's stick a little needle into it, take a look at the cells and see, is this something to worry about? And then also what I often do is when we're going to anesthetize a dog for a reason like a dentistry or some sort of surgery, if there are these little lumps and bumps and things that have concerned you, that might be a good time to remove them. And that way it just takes away the worry. But it's always good to have things checked, especially if you've never seen it before, even if it doesn't seem to be bothering the dog.
That's right. And some dogs hide stuff really well. They don't show pain all the time.
Right.
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
also true with like bone lesions and arthritis, limping. You see a limp, you may feel the leg, you don't feel anything, but something could be going on inside. It could be a soft tissue injury, it could be early arthritis. So it does help to get these things checked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great. So we have Michael M. in El Paso, Texas, who wants to know, when is the best time to neuter your pet?
This is something new, and this is, again, my opinion. We used to say 6 months. Less than that, I have concerns, and I'll tell you why. A lot of small breeds, for example, will have what we call retained deciduous teeth. Those are baby teeth that don't fall out properly when the adult tooth erupts. So what happens is we have to pull those baby teeth. Obviously, requires anesthesia. If you neuter or spay a dog at 4 months, which I guess you can do, but then you worry about, you might have to knock them out again at 6 or 7 months to pull those baby teeth. That's silly. So minimum for me, minimum 6 months. Now, there's a lot of new data recently where there are some other ill effects to this early neutering in Spain. In large breeds, for example, they found that the incidence of bone cancer in older large breeds was greater if they were pre-pubertally spayed or neutered. So my recommendation now is for small breed, and again, check with your veterinarian. My recommendation for small breeds, 6 months is okay once the teeth are in. If you have a mix, and there are a lot of mixes out there, mini doodles, many different types of mini doodles. Remember, one of those breeds was a large breed. So I treat them as a large breed because genetically they have large breed in them. So I will say at least a year of age. And for females, where we used to want to spay them prior to the first heat, now we say let them have one heat and then get them at around 11 to 13 months, which is before their second heat, which is usually at 14 months of age. So you want to check with your vet. And there's one breed out there, golden retrievers, that there's some data coming out that says maybe you want to wait longer. Or some experts say, and I don't know if I agree, that their risk of certain cancers are greater when they're spayed or neutered, and therefore they will never spay or neuter a golden retriever. Again, there's some new data coming out. You want to stay current, check with your vet, check with the data, go online, do some homework. But I would say for the short answer, 6 months for small breeds and at least a year or more after one heat for big breeds. And some even let the small breeds now have one heat. That's what I practice.
This is great. We are getting fresh off the presses, veterinary research, some tips here that's hot off the presses. I love it. So great. So finally, doctor, many CareCredit card holders are always looking for the best quality health for their animals, of course. I see that Joni R. Had the same question actually as our last submission question, which is from Brianna A. in Northport, Florida, who asks, what are some key things to look for when choosing a veterinarian?
You know, I would say being a good veterinarian is a lot about personality, caring. Here's my tagline when I lecture is the truth is clients really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, I'll see a pet and they're literally, I walk in a room, the pet's in my face, giving me major, major licks, right? Hugging me. And I reciprocate. I just, the interaction is great. And so many clients will tell me, new clients, oh, so-and-so told me you were going to do that. What does that tell you? They're not telling you how great a spay I did, or how beautiful my skin workup was, right? Or how great my splenectomy was. They're talking about how available I am, how much I care, I get back to them. That's what people are judging veterinarians on. Of course, you have to be competent. Hoping if you went to a veterinary school and graduated and passed all your boards, you have that degree of competency, but there's so much more to becoming a good veterinarian. And I think that's really what it boils down to, is finding a vet that available. Right now, so many veterinarians are not available. It's amazing to me how many veterinarians they're so backed up because of COVID and who knows what, and not seeing patients in exam rooms with the client, that they're saying, no, we can't accept any new clients. Or, oh, I can see you, but it'll be 2 weeks. That's not acceptable. For me, it's you need to come in. Your dog's been vomiting for 3 days. I will get you in. It might be a wait. I want you to be patient, but I will not go home until I see your pet. So it's a different philosophy. I'm 100% dinosaur when it comes to my philosophy, and I get it, but that's what I would look for. Someone who truly is going to help you with your pet when you need the help, not when they have time.
That absolutely makes sense. And we love your heart and your passion. Thank you so much, Dr. Werber, for answering all of our questions. We really, really, really appreciate it. And thanks to your fuzzy one for sitting there so nicely the whole
He's
time.
been so good. He is so cute. This is why I brought him home. I couldn't get enough of him. So,
I got to show you my little guy. This is Urkel.
Marco, I love that name. That's
So they
great.
behind each other. Hi, buddy. You got to love the loved ones, you know? They
Oh,
just want some sex and
it's
some love.
unreal. Yeah, it is so true.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Werber. We're so grateful again to you for answering all of these questions. Let's see, we still have Jeanette in Arkansas, Deb in Minnesota, Sue in Savannah. Who else do we have? Jose in Sacramento, Debbie in Michigan. So all those people are here to listen to your amazing advice. Thank you so, so, so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And, I do my AMA, my Instagrams and my AMAs on Sunday mornings. You can have people come on and ask away. I love helping people with their pets.
We love your passion and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. So thanks everybody for watching. We have a special secret word. So we want to make sure that in case you missed it earlier, that we get to show you that word. So the CareCredit Let's Get Digital sweepstakes special secret word is health. Through October 31st, 2022, you can earn entries for your chance to win $2,000 in the Let's Get Digital CareCredit cardholder sweepstakes. Enter the secret word health, HEALTH, in the Sweepstakes Hub to earn a special 10 entries now. Head over to the Sweepstakes Hub by simply visiting carecredit.com/letsgetdigital. No purchase necessary. A purchase will not increase your chances of winning. It's open to legal residents of the 50 U.S. and U.S. territories, including D.C., 18 and over, who have a CareCredit credit card as of 9/6/2022. Void where prohibited. Promotion starts 9/7/2022 and ends 10/31/2022. Sweepstakes prizes are awarded in the form of a check. For official rules, including odds, free method of entry, and prize descriptions, visit carecredit.com/letsgetdigital. The sponsor is Synchrony Bank, 170 Election Road, Draper, Utah, 84020. So thank you everyone for watching Care Experts Live. Thank you for submitting all your questions from all over the country. All of our featured care experts recommend and accept the CareCredit credit card, which is accepted at hundreds of thousands of provider locations nationwide. For more information, just visit carecredit.com. Thank you guys so much. We've had so much fun with these live episodes, so stay tuned. We're going to have more in 2023, so please stay with us. And be sure to subscribe to the Care Experts podcast. It's at any listening platform, so just pick your favorite listening platform to subscribe. And also subscribe to our CareCredit YouTube channel for new episodes every Wednesday. So I still see we have some great people in the chat. Final shout out to Wanda, Erica, Sarah, thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us.